Actually, she wrote more episodes. Directed by Richard Flower, who's one of our ADs on the show for the first 4 years, and then he directed, I think, 2 episodes a year. Steve, is that what he did, Richard? And he came back and did 2 this year, but he's not in the show anymore because he wants to direct full time. He did it already. Yeah, he did. And so there you go. So there's a script. It's
they are the original signatures. It's not a photocopy.
No, these are we signed these.
All the color pages as well. So it's not a photocopy of the original. It is the original script.
This is the original script put together after it's got all the different changes. Over here, you got all the different different pages that go into each script. So you got about 7 or 8 different colors of script in there, just to give you an idea how many rewrites they do as each episode goes along. So. Boy, wait till you guys see my stuff one day. I've got every episode of Hercules I've ever done with my notes in each script. That's locked away now. So I've got all 111 episodes, all 5 2-hour movies with my notes in there. Some are good notes, some are bad notes. I mean, it's just, when I made those. And I will unlock those one day to bring them to events like this because that's what I'm doing it for. And I got the idea from Potsy from Happy Days. Anson Williams did it on Happy Days. So I've done it on this show. I've got every episode of Andromeda. I've got everything's in triplicate. I have the original script, so it's all one color of each episode. I have the one that I used, that I studied out of and made my notes out of, and made my scribbles and put my grocery list on. It's got wacky notes throughout the whole thing. And then plus I got one signed by every member of every episode. So I've got every episode in triplicate. Plus I have lots of little props they used on every episode of Hercules and every episode of Andromeda. I've got an entire warehouse of this stuff. Look, it was all taken legally. So I didn't do what some of those guys did in Lord of the Rings. So it's all just locked away right now, and one day I will bring it back out to these things, and I think you guys will find it interesting. Anyway, we got this script. What do we got? 50 pounds, 60, 100, 110. Whoa, 200.
They don't get to see many real scripts, Kevin.
No, this is the real script. This doesn't have the notes in there, but this is a real script. 250 we have. 250 going once? Whoa, 300. Woo! 300 going once. 330.
He wants it because Laura's touched it.
I don't blame you. 350. What is it?
375.
400. 450 going once.
Don't mess with the chefs.
450 going twice. 450 sold. Thank
you so much. Can you tell us your experiences working with Lucy and Renee, please?
Renee is actually, I met Lucy first. She was in the very first movie. She had a small part playing one of the Amazons, where she didn't have that many lines in it, but she was very nice. She was very fun. She got she pretended to be coy and shy in one scene where she had to physically, the Hercules belt and everything. She had to grab it like this and pull me into a room. I found out quickly that was just an act. She ain't that coy. She ain't that shy. But I didn't get to know her that well because it was the first that first movie, because it was like, I think out of the 6 or 7 weeks we shot that, she was only in maybe a week and a half of that, and most of my scenes were not with her. They were with Miss Touched by an Angel, who at 5'3" was the Amazon warrior queen. It's interesting casting, but she held her own. She was very good, and she was a lot of fun to work with. And then with Renee, I got to know very well in the second movie because she was playing this spoiled little person that sort of joins my journey. And another actor in that was Eric Close, who's now regular on a series called Without a Trace, right? Without a Trace. he and I keep in touch basically with cards, at Christmas. That's about it. But with Renee, I got to know her very well because we worked every single day, and they had worked with her. If you can believe this, she played a prostitute, and which I just can't buy. She played a prostitute in an earlier TV movie of the week or something that Sam Raimi and Rob Tapert had put together, and that's why she got cast in this, because they worked with her before. And it's kind of the way Hollywood works. It's a tough door to get through, and once you're through it, with one group of people, they like to use you over and over again if if you're professional and you're good and you're not a jerk. And so it wasn't until the first season of regular 1-hour shows where I got to know Lucy better, because she came in and guest starred in about 3 or 4 episodes. She made me blind in one episode, the bitch. And but we got to kiss. That was good. So and then of course with the trilogy of Xena. That's just sort of happened. It was a mistake. It was somebody else at the time was cast for the part, and she couldn't make it. Something happened with the illness, and all of a sudden there was Lucy filling the role, because they had a time element that they had to get somebody in the spot, and they liked her, and she was professional, she was good, and so it just worked out that way. And it's weird how things happen, but in all honesty, Lucy was right for the part. The other actress wasn't right for the part. So it's interesting how things happen, and because of somebody else's illness, she got a career, and that's how Hollywood works. There's a lot of weird things that happen. Everybody's got weird stories like that, how they get a part and how they lose a part. I've walked into rooms and lost many parts just because of my height. The lead actor, I won't name names, Kevin Costner, Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm taller than they are, and if I'm a bad guy, it's one thing, but if I'm going to play their buddy and I'm in a lot of scenes with them, they don't want me. That's just the truth. And name dropping was the truth. Those are 2 truthful stories. So, and that can be frustrating, but it's just part of Hollywood. But anyway, with Lucy and Renee, it was fun to meet them. I ran into Renee. I haven't seen Lucy in 5 years. I ran into Renee at the Academy Awards this year. She was there, and we had a nice chat for a long time with her husband Steve, and did some photos with the rest of the New Zealand people we'd worked with all those years. So it was good to catch up. And she's living in L.A. and still pursuing acting. I don't know what's happening for her with that right now. It's it's a tough gig. You come off a hit show and it doesn't always work out. But her husband, I know, is now got an importing business with New Zealand products, because he's from New Zealand. Where else? He wouldn't take it from Guam. So New Zealand.
Would you ever advertise eatable underwear again?
Okay, this is a long story with that. The edible underwear thing came. I guest starred in a really bad American show. It's called Divorce Court, and and it was like a precursor to reality TV shows, but it wasn't. There was nothing real about it at all. And I played an ex-porn star that was having an affair with some guy's wife, and he owned an underwear company, and he caught us in the back when she was eating the banana-flavored underwear off of me. So I hope you never find a copy of that. But now that I've said it, there will be people here that will be searching for it. It's like 1986 or 87, and thank you for bringing that up. But I was honest about it, right? I told it. At least I didn't really do a porn movie.
I asked Gordon the same question this morning. If you had the chance, would you with a lot of Americans coming over here onto the theatre stage, would you like to do something in the West End?
I would love to go back. I've done theater in years. I'd love to go back and do it. Michael Hurst is still back doing it, by the way. He's been doing, I think he just finished another production of Hamlet just recently. Michael's phenomenal to me. I've never met a man with a memory, with a mind that he has. He's like a vice, and everything that goes in there, he remembers. He'll quote things on the set, and you look at him and go, "Why the hell do you know that?" He'll know how the gnats, how they reproduce, and it's just weird. And when it comes to Shakespeare, he can recite anything from Shakespeare from any of his plays. And he and I have actually talked about doing one in New Zealand, and we still are to this day. I will get back on stage again one day, because I miss it. The closest thing I've done to stage in the last 6-7 years, I've done a sitcom every year, 1 or 2 or more every break I have. And to me, that's a rush, because you get in front of 400 people and you shoot it in order. That's how they shoot the sitcoms in America, most of them. And that is a rush. It is a rush to get up there in front of those people and And just, you're naked up there, and it's fun. So I will do one someday, and I want to go back to my hometown and do one as well.
Because David Hasselhoff's over here at the moment.
Yes, he
doing
is.
Something. So
He's doing Chicago, right?
Yeah.
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 I was hoping to get in to see a play while I was here, but I don't know. Brian, did you ever check to see what's showing? Is there Sunday's? No, Sunday's not. Is it Mondays usually dark? Sundays usually perform, don't they? Some of them. Well, maybe I'll go tonight. I don't know. But my hometown in Minneapolis is a very famous theater called the Guthrie, and I would love to do that someday. And he's from here, actually, born and raised here, and he formed a theater company that was in Minneapolis. So I'd love to go back someday and perform in my hometown. And I told them they're interested as well. And I said, let's do it in the summer, because the winter's where I grew up. No, I don't miss that stuff.
Hiya. I was just wondering how intimidated you were going into Andromeda, knowing that it was created by Gene Roddenberry, and even Major Barrett was going to be working on it as well.
Well, it's interesting. I was more excited than I was intimidated. I wasn't really intimidated. It was to me, I was a big Star Trek fan. The original series to me is still the best. I loved it. Oh, it was awesome, and it was one of the biggest blunders ever in the history of television with NBC. I mean, they canceled it after 3.5 seasons, and back then they didn't have to check the ratings and see who the crowds were. They didn't have a thing called demographics, where they broke people into whether it was ethnic groups or ages or whatever it was. That show was huge, because back in the States at that time, they only had really like 6 stations, and 3 of them were networks. The other ones were usually private-driven through the public. And the networks, if they weren't getting 20 or 30% of the audience, they said, well, let's cancel it. Here's a show that was getting probably 25% of the entire country. Now they keep shows in the air if they get a 1 share, because they go, that's enough, because the competition is so intense now, and you've got hundreds of stations to choose from over there now. So I was very excited to go into her house, sit in his office, in his desk, at his desk. She left me to my own, when I sat down there. She said, go ahead, read and walk around whatever you want. So I felt like I could feel his ghost there or something. It was really quite, I never met the man. I wish I would have. But I had heard enough stories, and it was exciting to sit down and read some of his memoirs. He seemed like a very intelligent man. I read some of his speeches he gave at universities across the country, and actually across the world, around the world. And it was fun. It was fun to hear the things he had to say, and now to be part of this show. Actually, Andromeda is made up of 2 different ideas he had, because they initially sent me 3 different ideas and said, pick one you like. And there's 2 I liked a lot, and I asked them, I said, is there any way we can merge the idea of this show with this show and make one show out of it? And they said, yeah. And the original title of the show was supposed to be The Phoenix Ascendant. And I said, that's not a good title. And I fought for Andromeda, which was actually the name of the ship. It was going to be the name of the ship anyway, so why are we calling it The Phoenix Ascendant? So Andromeda to me sounded more commercial, more cool, and that was actually my first battle with the guys up at Tribune. But I've learned not to back down to what I believe in. I don't expect to be right all the time. I don't expect to get my way all the time. But I'm not afraid to voice my opinion. And I'm always open for debate. So that's kind of how that happened.
In the pilot episode of Andromeda, Harper had the line, "Who does Dylan think he is, a Greek god?" Was that your idea?
I might have had something to do with that. That was Gordon's line. It was very funny. But it was good. Oh, you got more, don't you?
Happy birthday on the 24th of September.
Thank you. I'll be 23. 23.
Your fan club, what was it? Be strong in a world that's weak. I wrote in and asked where that came from ages ago, and I've never had a reply. Can you explain?
Really? Well, I was waiting to reply on that. That actually was born from my first manager, Beverly Dean. Beverly and I talked about what we should write on there, and I said I wanted to write a strong message. I want to talk about, and it kind of came from both of us, but she put it in a nice little sentence, be strong in a world that's weak, and I've always liked that. And I've used it on photos ever since, and Follow Your Dreams was, I'm sure other people have used it, but I use that quite a bit as well, and because I think those are 2 little phrases that people should live by, because I think they're good sound pieces of advice.